Welcome to Algebra, lesson number 4, combining like terms, two types. So in our last lesson, we looked at combining two terms that we knew were alike, and we decided that we would do it in much the same way that we did combining integers, where we were always looking for addition to be the operation we were performing, and we combined the integers such that we ended up with a new sum at the end that was a combination of those two integers, and we kept the variable that we had in our like term. But what we did in the last lesson, there was only one set of like terms. What if there are more? We're going to do that today, and we call that simplifying. So that's the little bit of terminology we're going to tackle today. Simplifying means gathering all of the like terms together in their lowest possible number. So let's start with example number 1. Simplify the following terms: positive 2x plus positive 3y plus positive 4x plus positive 4y. So first thing we want to do is identify the terms that are alike, and I will do that with my highlighter. So here I have a positive 2x, and what makes this a term that would be like another is that term will just have an x raised to the exponent 1, which isn't written. And if I look down the line of terms, I see there is another term there that has the variable x raised to the exponent 1. So those two are alike. And I'm going to write those two terms down right now side by side. So my first step here is to rewrite positive 2x plus positive 4x. So those two terms are alike, and I've tackled them. Now going back to our original expression, I see that I have a positive 3y. So what would make that term like another term is to have the variable y also raised to the exponent 1. And as I look down the line of terms, I see a positive 5y. So those two terms are alike. And again, continuing what we started with the x terms, we are going to just rewrite here. So plus positive 3y and plus positive 5y. So there we have a rewrite of the first expression. Now that we've got the two terms that we are going to combine, the like terms written side by side, so there are my two x terms and there are my two y terms, I'm going to just combine them like we did in the last lesson as if they were integers. So I have a positive 2x plus a positive 4x. That is going to result in a positive 6x. That's the combination of my first two like terms. Now I look to my last two like terms, plus positive 3y plus positive 5y. The plus 3 and the plus 5, we combine those to give us a plus positive 8y. And that's how we simplify that first expression. So let's look at that same set again in example number 2. Simplify the following terms. So what I want to do is look down the line of my expression and see which terms I have that are alike. So I am going to see a negative 6a here at the beginning. I'm going to look down the line for other terms that have a raised to the exponent 1, and there's one right at the end. A negative 2a, and I don't see anything else like that, so I am going to look to my next term, which is a negative 1. So it doesn't have a variable at all. That's okay. I'm going to look for other terms that don't have variables, and there's another one just after it, a negative 7. Now, before we do our rewrite step, here's where, if we find that any of the pieces we're going to combine are using subtraction instead of addition, we want to change them up. And as I look down the line, I see that. I see that I have a subtraction here that I want to turn to addition, but in order to do that, I need to change the sign of the term that comes after it. And looking down the rest of the line, that looks fine. So I have to remember when I am looking at that negative 7, it's actually been changed to a positive 7. So I'm going to do that rewrite step now. I'm going to take the terms with the variables first. There's my negative 6a plus, and looking down, that was a negative 2a. So those are my two like terms there. Now I'm going to add negative 1, and I'm going to add positive 7. So there's my rewrite step. Now I'm going to combine the terms that have been written side by side. So a negative 6a plus a negative 2a is going to give me more negatives. So I'm going to have negative 8a. That's how we combine those first two terms. Then we are going to have plus, and I have a -1, and I have a +7. So these are ones where my signs are different. I look for the integer that's bigger. It's the +7, so that tells me that the sign of my result will be 7, and the difference between 7 and 1 is 6. So there is our final answer, -8a plus +6. And that's how we combine the terms once we've rewritten them. So hopefully these steps are making sense. What I'd like you to do here in the video is to hit pause, and I'd like you to try example A on your own. When you've got it, come on back and we'll check how you did. Okay, let's get a look at this. Again, we want to start by finding our like terms. So we're starting with a +8b. I look down the line for other terms that have b to the exponent 1, and there is a -3b. I don't see anything else with b's in it, so that's good. Let's look at the next term down the line, a +4c. Again, I'm looking for other terms that have c to the exponent 1 that will be like terms, and there's one, a +c, right at the end. Now, before I rewrite, I'm going to make sure that all of the combining I'm doing is using addition. And I see I have to change this one right here. This is subtraction. I want to change this now to -4c and look down the line. The rest of it looks pretty good. So now I'm going to do my rewrite step, being mindful of that term whose sign I just changed. Let's start with my +8b plus -3b. So there's my like terms with b. And now I'm going to write my plus -4c plus +c. I'm going to mention here that although I don't see a coefficient in front of that c, I know that if I don't see it, the coefficient is going to be 1. So I'll just write that in there just for reference. So I have +8b plus -3b. I want to combine these two terms. I look at the integers. The integers have different signs. So the integer with the greatest amount is positive, which means that my combined term will be positive, and the difference between 8 and 3 is 5, and I keep my variable b to the exponent 1. Plus, and now I'll work on the second two terms, -4c plus +1c. Again, they're different. The integer with the greatest amount is negative, so my answer will be negative. And the difference between 4 and 1 is 3, and there's my variable c. So there's our solution. Again, hopefully you're getting this right. Let's try one more. You guys try example B, so hit pause here in the video. Give this one a try. When you've got an answer, come on back, and we'll see how you did. Okay, let's get a look. Again, we're going to start by identifying our like term. So there is our -5e to the exponent 2. Let's look down the line. There's another e to the exponent 2, this time with the coefficient -7. Let's see, the next term is -2e. Any other terms like that? Yep, there's a +6e right there. So before we do the rewrite step, we're going to make sure all of the combining is being done with addition. So there's one that we have to change, +7e to the exponent 2. And we have to change this one as well. So there's a plus. Now this will become a -6e. So that's all been adjusted. I want to remember that in my rewrite step. So let's do the rewrite step now. -5e squared plus +7e squared plus -2e plus -6e. All right, so there we are, all rewritten. Now we're going to combine the like terms as if they were integers. So -5e squared plus +7e squared. These integers have different signs, so the largest of the two is positive, so our answer is going to be positive. The difference between 7 and 5 is 2, and we keep our variable e to the exponent 2. Plus, now we're going to work the second two like terms, -2e plus -6e. They have the same sign, so we're just going to combine those together, a -2 and a -6, -8e. And that is our answer. And it is also the end of our lesson on combining like terms when there are two different types of terms. So by all means, go back and watch portions of the video again. If you're feeling good, head off to the worksheet, and I'll see you in lesson number 5.